Banggood asked me if they could send me a T911. Now, a T911 to me would be a Porsche Targa 911. Oh, yes, please. It's a slightly smaller box than I was expecting, I must admit, but it's a really smart looking quad actually. So, like you can see, it's the GTeng T911W, and first things first, GTeng do really good instruction manuals. If you're new to flying, this thing would get you started. It's really good, and I'm going to run through all the functions and features of the quad anyway. But if you're new, like I say, this is really good. All in one language as well, and all nice and clear with graphics as well, so excellent. The other things you get in the box, obviously you've got your quad, which actually reminds me of sort of like a Kung Fu star from sort of 1970s, 80s Bruce Lee style movies. So sort of, you know, you would lob it at the evil villains and knock them out.
So you dishonor my family. You want to fight, do you?
So really smart piece of kit. The transmitter is the usual sort of GTeng one, and it can fly on an app, and it's got FPV on it as well, so we can use that. The battery is a 450 milliamp hour single cell, and it's a lossy micro connector, and to charge that you simply plug it into a USB adapter that we have here, and it will so you could charge it in your car, on your laptop or your computer, or a mains adapter will do it as well. You get a little bag with a complete set of spare props, and also a little screwdriver which you could strip the whole thing down with. There's just a bunch of screws all around there, and then the two halves come apart. So like I say, the quad is really smart looking, so it folds up really nicely, would go in your pocket absolutely no trouble at all, and would stay, you know, really pretty much impervious to any damage, I would say. A little camera on the front there as well, and then you literally just click the motor pods out, and they have a click stop, and then they stop literally there, and that is, I think it's a really smart looking quad. As the motor pods tip up, you get the little rubber landing feet as well, so that's cool. So let's put the battery in, and I'll show you what the LEDs are like. And there's quite a bit of room in this battery bay, so you'll be able to use, you know, get some other batteries for it. Again, not a proprietary battery, which is really nice. I'll put a link down in the description. You can buy 5 batteries that would run on this, and a charger for the 5 for about 10 quid, so rather good. So let's just pop that on. Hold it for a second, and like I say, the LEDs are pretty good. Even it's reasonably bright out here, and they're working pretty well. The only thing is they're all one colour. They're all white, as you can clearly see. So there's no orientation help there at all, and there's no orientation apart from the actual camera on it that would give it away what way it's facing anyway. So, but nice little quad, like I say. The actual transmitter is their stock one, so I'll just run through the basics of flying with it. So it's set for mode 2, so your throttle's here, so you literally go push up, it will go up, push down, it will come down, and it's got altitude hold, so it will sit at a level. It won't sit in a position, it will sit at a level, so any breeze or anything and it will drift, and this is a very soft flyer. GTeng seem to do really good beginners models, and very, very soft in the flying. If you want to go forward, that's it, pitching forward, pitching back, rolling right and rolling left. That's in normal mode, so that's in what I would call normal flying mode. If you go into headless mode, which this has, and you just simply hold this button down here for a couple of seconds, you get flashing LEDs. And now, if we bound to it this way round, so we've connected up to the quad, and I'll show you how we do that later, facing all this way, no matter what direction the quad is facing in headless mode, forward is always forward away from you, right is always to the right of you, etc. So headless mode ignores where the front of the aircraft is, basically, and I prefer to fly with always thinking the front is the front, not that way is always the front. You can also fly, you know, angles as well. It's not literally the 4 points of the compass. You could just have it at a bit of an angle, it'll go that way. So it's a different way of flying, not something I've ever really got on with or ever really enjoyed, but I'll show you how it works when we're actually doing the flight part of the review. Some beginners like it. I think learn how to fly sort of properly, I would say, and then that will never let you down, basically. The other thing this button does is return to home, and you just press it once and the quad will basically head back towards home. Not really seeing a lot of sense in that, because you're not going to fly this very far away. Probably 50 meters would be an absolute maximum you would really want to fly it away. This one here is your auto takeoff and auto landing, and when it's taken off or landing, you can control where it's going to go as it takes off. If you give it some control from the control stick, direction stick here, it will go in the direction you're pointing. If you want to cancel it when it's coming into land, just simply give it some throttle and that will cancel the auto land. Before it will take off, you do have to arm the motors, and to arm the motors on this one you pull these down and out, and then it's as you release them that will start the motors up. So it's no good just holding them like that, nothing will happen. It's the release that will actually start the motors. And you can also stop the motors that way as well. So if you've started it up but you don't want to take off, you can just do that and it will cancel it again for you. The other way of stopping it is literally bringing it into land. So anything that it lands on, a hand, table, on the ground or anything, just pull the throttle right down. Once it's realised it's not going down any further for about a second, the motors will stop. There's an emergency stop on this one as well, so if you're in flight and you've got a real problem and you just panic basically, just hold down these two, literally probably a second, and the motors will kill and it will just drop to the ground. So that's quite a good safety thing. The trim buttons are here, and there's loads of videos out there telling you how to set trim and everything. If you want to calibrate the gyro, and I suggest you do that if you've had an accident or it's not flying straight, not sitting in more or less one position. If you're on a very calm day or flying indoors, it keeps drifting one way. Bind up to the quad and everything. Simply pull these two sticks down and to the left. You'll get flashing LEDs, and that means that the gyros are calibrating. And then it should fly really reasonably well then without any problem. That usually cures everything. If not, another thing that can cause a problem is if you've bent one of the props. The props are quite flexible, but you can get damage to them. If you got damage to a prop, that will affect its flight characteristics, so just simply swap the prop over. And be careful, because the props are handed basically, so you can see these two props spin round that way, so that so they always those go that way and the other ones go the other way basically. So these two are matched and these two are matched, so just make sure if you're changing the props that you do match them up. If not, it definitely won't fly if you put the wrong prop on the wrong arm. And I've explained how you fly in mode 2, which is using the throttle on this side. If you want to fly in mode 1, you simply lift that up to get to the on-off control here. You hold this button down, and when you turn that on, it will change it to mode 1. Mode 1 means the throttle's on this side. Quite a few quads you can swap from mode 2 to mode 1, but I do recommend if you're new to flying that you learn to fly with mode 2, because every quad on the planet, as far as I know, will fly in mode 2. Okay, so let's take it up for a flight. So pop the quad on first of all. Well, I'm going to turn the light on for for flight. That's good. It still shows the LEDs work really well. Even there we go. Even with its bright light, they're not bad. So we had fast pulse in there, and then it comes down to a slow pulse, so it's ready to bind now. So now I'm going to turn the transmitter on, and now we go back to a fast pulse, so it's really ready to bind now. Up and down on the throttle, and then we're bound, ready to go. And just to show you, there we go. Again, as I said, to start and stop it. I'm going to turn on my phone, and the quad will have produced a Wi-Fi hotspot, and I already had a play with this inside, so it's probably already logged onto it, and it has. There we go, onto the GTeng FPV, and then it'll have a set of numbers after it. Make sure you're connected to that, and then we can launch the app. And if I get a shot like that off the off the flight, I will be well impressed with this quad. And then going to press go. There we go. So yeah, the FPV works pretty good. So you record onto your phone, and this doesn't use your data or it doesn't need any other Wi-Fi setup. It's just purely a link between the phone and the quad. That's all it's doing. This takes quite a sizable phone on the actual transmitter, and you can actually alter the angle to make it comfortable for you to fly and see as well. Let's clear the deck so I don't knock anything. And then to start recording, you simply press this one here. And I've done a video on how to actually fly using an app. Now, we're not going to fly with the app, but even though we do have the controls up, so there's basically a conflict happening here. The quad is expecting us to fly with the app or with the transmitter. So if I turn off the app one, we can definitely only fly with the transmitter, which is really good. So let's just see how we get on, shall we? There's 3 rates with the quad itself. It always starts in intermediate rates, and you change the rates by pressing this one here. So that's the beep 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 is up into 3rd rates. Oh, it's not too bad a flyer. Sometimes the GTengs are really slow. Well, this one's not bad. Great for a beginner. Yeah, nice little control as well. So that's in normal flying, as I said. So I'm pitching forward, pitching backwards. If I turn it that way, pitch forward, pitch backwards, you can see it's still going with the quad's front here is the bit that's forward, always forward. So if I want to go into headless mode, hold that one as I said. So that's, there we go, because I'm not too sure where it actually started off. There we go. So this is back towards me. It doesn't matter what way the quad's facing, the controls always work the same. So that's forward, that's backwards, left and right, doesn't matter where we're facing. And as you can see, we've got flashing LEDs as well there to show that we're in headless mode. Hold that one down for a couple of seconds, it cancels that. The return to home, I'm going to press that one, and it goes off in that sort of direction. Like I say, return to home is a little bit of a weird science, being as it hasn't got GPS on it. Let's put it in low rates and show you how low it will fly. That's literally it at full pitch. We've got hardly any breeze in the garden at all today. A little bit of breeze, you see it's a little bit faster that way. So that's slow rates, and everything's slow on it, the turn and everything, which is called yawing. There we go, that's 2 and that's 3. Actually, I didn't think I explained yawing, did I? Yawing's when you want the quad to turn, so you push this one and it's basically turning round. So we've got auto land, as I said. I'm just going to take that up a wee bit. Press the auto land and it will come down. And like I say, as soon as it hits it, as soon as it stops going down for a second, it will then stop the props. So we can start that again. And then we can auto take off. Simply press that one. Like I say, it'll pump up probably about 1 meter. And you can stop it, just pull down on the throttle. And as you can see, it definitely has altitude hold. It's just sitting there. Like I say, the breeze is just blowing it slightly. It's a very lightweight little quad, but a really nice little flyer actually. It's very good. Let's just do a bit of a selfie. There we go. I suggest if you're doing video or anything, you have it in low rates and then it's nice and slow for you. And let's just take a still, because your control is much softer on it as well. There we go. Yeah, absolutely superb. Let's start that video again. And let's just see how we do range wise. So I'm going to pop the rates up this time. 2 and then 3. That's about 30 meters, no problem at all. I'm walking backwards as well. Wait, that is, yeah, that's working fine. That's about 40 meters we're at now. And we haven't got any drop out with the actual FPV either. Well, that's good. That's best part of 50 meters now, yep. But like I say, I can hardly see the quad. I mean, yes, I can use the FPV, but you're going to start running out of signal. And this is where the FPV comes in handy. I can see where I am to come back to me. Like I say, if you're doing video, I suggest you have it in low rates. It just turn a lot quicker and a lot more gentle. Nice. Yeah, nice little flyer. You'll get flashing LEDs when the battery's starting to run low. Oh, perfect timing. There we go. Now GTeng usually fly for quite a bit afterwards, actually, some of their models. So I'm just going to fly this around a wee bit and just see what happens. You won't damage the battery. You're supposed to bring it into land now, but invariably it's not too much of a problem because it won't let it go too low. It'll eventually come in and land anyway. But obviously if it's a long way away from you and you land, you're finished. It will land. You'll have a heck of a job finding this in long grass, I'm sure. Well, it's actually not a bad little flyer. Yeah, lovely. I do like the look of it as well. I like the way the pod's put out the way, so you're not going to damage your props in your pocket or anything. God, lovely as well. Whee, yep. Just do a quick test there. I just didn't look at the FPV, I was just watching the quad. I was just enjoying the flight. So let's see whether we've still got enough power in there. I'm going to stop the video. Oh, we really are that low, are we? Yeah, I think so. Hey, that was impressive. I turned the quad off, then turned it back on, and we were back on the Wi-Fi. That's brilliant. Hey, that's excellent. That's really unusual. If you lose Wi-Fi signal, you sometimes have to re-log onto it, so that was pretty impressive. So I'm going to take off manually this time, so just literally push that up. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely got flashing LEDs. Like I say, oh no, we really are that low, yeah. So you shouldn't really run it this low, but hey, it's a review, so I've got to try everything, haven't I? So, like I say, if you want to kill the buttons, kill the motors, just simply press that down. Okay, so this time we're going to fly it just up with the phone, just using the app. So all you need to carry is the actual quad with you and your phone, which is the way this one packs up, I think is really good. So again, we turn the quad on first of all. You get the flashing LEDs, and then they go down to a bit of a slow pulse, that's it, and they're sort of getting ready to bind. Go on to your Wi-Fi settings again, and just make sure it picks it up, so it picks it up automatically there. And then just launch the app. There we go, and we're live, and as you can see the LEDs stop flashing. If you turn the control off, after a couple of seconds the app, it will start flashing again because it's waiting to bind. So at the moment all you'd be using is the all you could use is the camera, but you'd need the transmitter. Pop that back on and then you can fly with your app. We can calibrate it on here as well. You've got the little scales here, just press that, you get the flashing LEDs, and that calibrates the gyros. It must be sat somewhere level, and don't move it while it's doing it, and you should get a nice smooth flight after that. So let's start the video. We need to turn on the altitude hold there, and then we're ready to go. Up and away. And like I say, these start in intermediate rates, which is really unusual. Most quads start in low rates and then you take them up. If you want to change the rates, simply press this one here and then pop it up to 100%. They're not usually that anxious with flying on an app, but actually GTeng do a really good job of decent speed on their app, so really nice. And the controls are exactly the same as we had before. So you've got your throttle, let me just bring it in here for you. The tiniest bit of breeze in the garden which will catch this. So you throttle up and down there, forward and back, so it's pitching forward, back, roll right and roll left, and then if you want it to turn round you can use the yaw there. And the yaw is different depending on what one you use it on, so that's down to 30%, and you can see how slow that is. 60, and then 100, there we go. Actually it's not a huge amount of difference, I thought it would have been, but I thought it was on the transmitter. And again, you should be able to get about, well, a good 30 meters with it. The thing is, it just takes so long to get anywhere. Nothing wrong with that, it's nice to do things slowly sometimes, but there's the tiniest bit of breeze that's really not letting it go over there we go, so we're, well, best part of 40 meters now. Whoops. Try not to hit the trees. Yeah, it's actually coming back quite fast. And the LEDs are okay, I just wish there were different colours at the front and the back, make life a lot easier for us. And it flies really nicely on the app. These are, I like the GTeng app actually, it's really good. And like I say, I've done a video on how to use them, so you'll be fine if you go and have a look at that. I'll put a link down in description for you. So again, let's just do that selfie. So I'm just going to drop that into low rates, and then you can control it a lot easier with how fast the yaw works. There we go. And then you can use the full FPV. There we go. It's like so, it's just a little bit of drift on in the garden. That's fine. And again, with gentle movements, you can really set it exactly where you want it to go. That's fine. I'm going to up the rates again. It's a really nice little flyer actually. I like this quad, it's really cool. For a beginner it'd be good. The only thing you haven't got is prop guards on it, so that's the protectors that would go around and stop your fingers hitting the props. It's pretty protected from the sort of star effect here, but the props are, you could still touch the prop, so just be careful if you are a beginner. I'd be a little bit careful, cautious with it, obviously. There we go, that's us all sort of done really. Do a little bit of FPV there, going under there. It's actually worked really well. There we go, got flashing LED. Well, like I say, they sort of last for ages on a G10. They seem to just put them in a little bit too early, I think. And again, we got the same way of landing. You can bring it into land, just pull the throttle down. Whoops. Learn how to fly would be good. There we go. Now pull the throttle off, and as soon as it's sat down for about a second, it will stop. But with this one, because it's got the altitude hold on it, as soon as you let go, it pops back up again like that. Whoops. That's me trying to look at the screen and try and show you things. So, whoops. There we go. And I quite, yeah, that can be taken as a disadvantage, but I quite think it's quite a good advantage that the motor pods can be sort of knocked out of the way. So it shouldn't really damage anything if it hits anything, which would be good. Let's see whether that will fly again. If you've had a crash or something like that, it won't restart on any of the buttons. Nothing will make it go. What you need to do is turn off the altitude hold, turn it back on again. That sort of arms the motors, and then you're ready for the auto takeoff. And you've still got auto land as well on this one. So if I press it, that would be better. There we go. And you've got the emergency stop as well there. So again, turn that off, turn that back on, primes the motors, take off, and then if I press that button, whoops, it's a nanosecond. Actually, just breathing on that button will actually make it fall out of the sky, which I think is quite good, because if you're in that sort of panic situation, you want it to stop. You don't want it to be hanging around at all. You can actually fly this one on the gyro of your phone, so you simply come into here, and here's the gyro one there. So it works with tilting your phone. So let me just quickly show you that. I'll pop that on straight away, and then we're up. And then if I tilt my phone forward, it goes forward, backwards, back, right, and left. I'll just go take that off because I want to show you, whoops, something else it's got as well. You've got journey mode on this one as well, which is this one here. Not something I'm fond of, but you just literally draw a line with it, and it will go where you've drawn the line. There we go. Whee, yep. So wherever you put it, it will go basically. And it's just struggling against this breeze.
So what's my conclusion on it? It's pretty good actually. I quite enjoyed flying it. G10 always tend to produce sort of quite soft flyers, which is great for beginners, and this would be a very good beginner's quad. The only thing it hasn't got is prop guards, and there's no real way of fitting them either, so they've sort of gone for the style of collapsing it and that it will fit in your pocket rather than being able to put prop guards on it. I don't really think that would be too much of a problem, but if you definitely want prop guards, I'll put some links in down in the description, and a couple of links at the end of this video that go and have a look at ones that I've reviewed with prop guards. Perhaps that's more suitable for you if you're starting out. Apart from that, it's really good. It flies quite nicely. Like I say, it's not a strong flyer. I wouldn't fly in strong wind. The camera wasn't bad for what it is. I mean, these things are all produced at a sort of a price point, aren't they? And this is just a really different one. I think that's what I really like about it. The fact that, you know, it all closes up really quick, back in the pocket, and off you go away. The battery's good as well, and I'll put the link down in the description for you. If you can get 5 of them and a charger for all 5 at once for about a tenner. So that'll give you loads of flight time, and you can charge it on the go as well then with any USB port. The LEDs were good, I thought, but it's one of the only quads I think I've ever known that doesn't have a front and back on the LEDs, which is quite weird really, so you really don't know what way it's going. Had that been said, when I flew it at night and any other time, I didn't have any issues with it, but I do fly quite a lot, so perhaps that was why. But if you're learning to fly, you don't fly it far away, you keep it in close, don't you? So I really don't think it's sort of the end of the world. It wouldn't, it's no deal breaker as far as I'm concerned, if this is the sort of thing you want. The nice thing is, pop this in your pocket, keep your phone with you as you always do, and you can pop up and fly, do a couple of little selfies. If you want to use the transmitter's good for what it is, and again, it's all at this sort of price point, isn't it? The transmitter works well. It's the normal GTeng one, and it sort of does what it does really. GTeng don't tend to do quads that flip. The past couple I've done, they don't flip, which doesn't bother me in the slightest. But if you're into the trick ones and everything, there's other ones that do it. So and there's lots of beginner ones out there, you know, have a good old trove around sort of thing. But no, range was good for what it was, I thought, and flight time was pretty good as well. And the fact you can change the batteries, and these are the other batteries I was mentioning earlier. You get 5 of these and a charger to charge all 5 at once that goes onto a USB for only about 10 quid. I'll put a link down in the description for you. So yeah, if you're in the market for a nice little beginner drone, this could well be the one for you.